The war tent smells of steel and rain. Storm clouds gather low over the camp, thunder rolling across the distant hills. Torches flicker outside, shadows moving along canvas walls as soldiers shift positions and horses stamp restlessly in the mud. Inside, the Duke stands over a long wooden table covered in maps. Supply routes, enemy movements, red ink marking potential losses, and she stands across from him. "You can't move the Southern cavalry tonight," she says firmly. "I can," he replies without looking up. "You shouldn't. The enemy expects delay. They expect you to be impatient." His jaw tightens slightly. "You're questioning my strategy. I'm questioning your timing." He finally looks at her. Not as advisor, not as subordinate, as her. "You think I'm acting rashly," he says. "I think you're acting personally." The word hangs in the air. He steps away from the table. The tent shifts slightly as wind pushes against the canvas. "This is war," he says evenly. "It's always personal." "No," she counters. "This is pride." His gaze sharpens. "You think I'm moving cavalry to prove something? I think you're moving them because you don't want to appear hesitant. And that would be wrong." "Yes." Silence falls. Thunder cracks overhead. Outside, boots crunch against wet ground. "You don't trust my judgment," he says quietly. "I trust it when it's not fueled by anger." His eyes darken slightly. "Anger. You lost men yesterday. And you want to respond immediately." "Of course I do." "That's not strategy," she says softly. "That's reaction." He steps around the table slowly, not circling her, just closing distance. "You think I can't separate loss from command? I think you care too much to pretend you can." He stops a few feet away. Rain begins hitting the tent in steady rhythm. "You speak boldly," he says. "You hired me for that. I hired you for clarity." "You're welcome." Despite the tension, something almost flickers between them. Something familiar. Dangerous. "You're asking me to wait," he says. "Yes. And risk losing momentum." "Yes. And trust that you're right." "Yes." The confidence in her voice unsettles him more than disagreement ever could. "You don't hesitate," he murmurs. "No. Even when you're standing in my war tent, contradicting my orders." "No." The storm intensifies outside. Canvas snaps sharply. "You should return to the main camp before it worsens," he says. "I will." But she doesn't move. Neither does he. "You're furious," she says quietly. "Yes." "At me?" "No." "At yourself?" He doesn't answer. She steps closer to the table. "Moving cavalry tonight will cost more than you think. And waiting could cost more. You don't want to wait because waiting feels like weakness." He steps closer. "You think I care what weakness looks like?" "Yes." Silence. Heavy. The air feels warmer inside the tent despite the storm outside. "You always do this," she says. "Do what?" "Stand too close when you're angry." He doesn't step back. "You don't move away," he says. "Because I'm not afraid of you." "You should be." "I'm not." Thunder cracks again, louder this time. The tent ropes strain against the wind. "You shouldn't be here alone," he says. "I came to advise you. You've done that. And you're not listening." He steps closer again. Now there is barely space between them. "You think this is about cavalry," he murmurs. "It is." "No." Her pulse shifts. "It's about control," he says. "Over the battle. Over me." The words land heavier than intended. "That's not fair," she says. "No. No. You think I override your counsel because I doubt you. You override my counsel because you don't like when I'm right." His mouth almost curves. "You're insufferable." "Yes." "And relentless." "Yes." "And very certain of yourself." "No." "Then what are you certain of?" He studies her carefully. "That you're not leaving because of cavalry." Her breath falters slightly. "I'm leaving because the storm is getting worse." "No." "Yes." "You're leaving because you don't like standing this close." Her pulse jumps. "You're mistaken." "I don't think so." She takes a step back, finally creating space. "You're angry," she says again. "Yes." "And you're looking for something to fight." He steps forward, eliminating the distance she just created. "You're still here," he says quietly. "Yes." "You could have left." "I haven't finished arguing." "That's not why." The storm roars outside. Rain pounds harder. "You should go," he says. "You're dismissing me?" "No." "Then what?" "I don't want you walking through that in the dark." "I've done worse." "Yes." "And you don't get to decide when I leave." "I do." She narrows her eyes. "You're not my commanding officer." "No." "Then don't speak like one." He exhales sharply. You don't understand. Then explain. He hesitates. Rare for him. You stand here challenging my orders, he says quietly. In the middle of a storm. In a war tent full of armed men. I'm aware. And you don't look afraid. I'm not. That's the problem. Silence falls again. He reaches past her suddenly. Not to grab. Not to restrain. Just to secure the loose flap of the tent that's snapping violently in the wind. But in doing so, his body brushes against hers. The contact is brief. Accidental. But charged. Her breath catches. He stills. The storm rages. You should leave, he says again. This time quieter. I will, she says. She turns toward the tent exit. His jaw tightens. She reaches for the flap. You're not listening to me, he says. I am. Then stay. She pauses. Slowly turns. You just told me to leave. I changed my mind. You don't get to do that. Yes, I do. Her pulse quickens. You're not commanding troops right now, she says softly. You're standing in a tent with me. And you're trying to walk away. Yes. Why? Because you're not arguing about cavalry anymore. The storm crashes violently overhead. The tent shakes. He steps forward again. Close enough that her back brushes the wooden support pole near the entrance. You think I'm going to say something reckless, he murmurs. You already have. And yet you're still here. The air feels charged. Electric. You should go, he says again. I will. But she doesn't move. He studies her face carefully. You don't like when I overrule you, he says. No. You don't like when I don't listen. No. You don't like when I stand this close. She swallows. No. His voice lowers. Then why haven't you left? Silence. Heavy. The storm outside drowns out the rest of the camp. You don't want me to, she says quietly. No. The admission shifts everything. You don't get to stop me, she whispers. He steps even closer. Now there is no space left. Try, he says. Her hand tightens on the tent flap. Her pulse pounds. The storm roars. And for the first time, she isn't sure whether she's trying to escape the tent. Or him. Her hand tightens around the edge of the tent flap. Try, he had said. The word lingers between them. Outside, the storm roars. Rain lashes against canvas. Thunder rolls so close it vibrates through the wooden support pole at her back. I am trying, she says quietly. But she doesn't pull the flap open. He's too close. Not touching, but close enough that she feels the heat of him through layers of fabric. You don't want to leave, he murmurs. That isn't the point. It is. You don't get to decide that. No, he says evenly. You do. Silence crashes between them. She exhales sharply and finally pulls the tent flap open. Wind slams into the space immediately, cold rain splattering across the entrance. Torches outside flicker violently. The path back to the main camp is already slick with mud and pooling water. She takes one step forward. He moves. Not roughly. Not forcefully. His hand catches her wrist. Warm. Firm. Intentional. The contact is immediate. Charged. She freezes. You said try, she says. Yes. You're stopping me. Yes. His fingers aren't painful. Not restraining her cruelly. Just holding. Grounding. The storm howls around them. If you walk through that alone, he says, voice steady despite the wind, you'll slip before you reach the lower ridge. I've crossed worse. In daylight, she tries to pull her wrist free. He doesn't tighten, but he doesn't release her either. You don't trust me to make my own choices, she says. I trust you to survive, he replies. That's not the same. No. The honesty disarms her for half a breath. Let go, she says. You're angry. Yes. At me. Yes. And you're leaving because of it. I'm leaving because you're impossible. The wind snaps the tent flap violently between them. He pulls her back inside in one smooth motion, not dragging, not yanking, just guiding her away from the storm and releasing the flap so it slams shut again. The tent darkens as the entrance closes. Rain pounds harder. She turns on him immediately. You don't get to do that. Yes, he says quietly. I do. You are not my commander. No. Then don't command me. He steps closer. Not as threat, as inevitability. You were about to walk into a storm because you were angry at me, he says. I was leaving because you overruled my strategy. You were leaving because I stood too close. Her breath catches. You're arrogant. Yes. And wrong. No. She tries to step around him. He moves with her. Not trapping, but blocking. You think this is about cavalry, he says. It is. No. Then what is it? His hand lifts again, this time not to her wrist, to her waist. Firm, grounding. The contact sends heat through her despite the chill still clinging to her from the rain. You don't like losing control, he says quietly. I am not losing control. You are. Thunder cracks overhead. The tent trembles. You don't like that I can overrule you, he continues. I don't like being dismissed. I didn't dismiss you. You did. I protected you. Her pulse spikes. I don't need protection. I know. Then stop acting like I do. His hand tightens slightly at her waist. You're furious because I didn't listen. Yes. And because you care whether I do. The words land harder than expected. She doesn't answer. The silence answers for her. You think I move the cavalry because of pride, he says. Yes. I move them because if the enemy pushes east instead of south, you're the one exposed. The confession shifts something inside her. You changed the route because of me? She asks. Yes. That's reckless. No. Yes. You think I don't calculate outcomes? I think you calculate everything. Then calculate this, he says softly. I don't make decisions without considering you. Her breath stutters. That's not your responsibility. It is. Silence falls heavy again. Rain drums relentlessly against the canvas. You should let me go, she whispers. Why? Because this isn't about strategy anymore. No. Then what is it? His gaze lowers briefly to her mouth, then returns to her eyes. It's about you walking away every time this becomes something else. Her pulse pounds violently. This is not something else. Yes, it is. You're angry. Yes. And emotional. Yes. And standing far too close. Yes. The repetition builds something dangerous between them. You don't get to stop me with your hand, she says quietly. I didn't stop you with my hand. No. I stopped you because you hesitated. The truth slices through her. She did hesitate. Not because of the storm. Because of him. You wanted me to stop you, he says. That's absurd. No. You're assuming. I'm observing. She exhales sharply. You're insufferable. Yes. And relentless. Yes. And you always think you're right. No. Then what are you right about now? He leans closer. Close enough that she feels his breath against her cheek. That you didn't want to leave. The storm roars again. The tent shakes violently. And in that enclosed space, it feels like the world has narrowed to nothing but breath and tension. You should let me go, she whispers. He looks at her for a long moment. Then his hand slides from her waist to her jaw. Slow, deliberate, intimate. You're not afraid of battle, he murmurs. No, you're not afraid of storm. No, you're afraid of this. Her breath falters. I am not. Yes. His thumb brushes lightly along her jawline. The touch is careful, measured, but electric. You don't like that I can see through you, he says. You're not seeing anything. I'm seeing you try to leave because staying is harder. The words land. Heavy. True. Thunder explodes overhead. For a split second, the entire tent is illuminated by lightning through the canvas. In that flash, she sees his expression clearly. Not command. Not arrogance. Something more dangerous. Vulnerability. You think this is weakness, he says quietly. I think this is reckless. Then stop me. Her pulse races. He leans in closer. Not kissing yet. Hovering. You were furious at me, he murmurs. I still am. Good. Her fingers curl into the front of his tunic. Don't, she whispers. Don't what? Do something you can't undo. His voice drops lower. If I do this, he says, it won't be because I lost control. Her breath shakes. It will be because you did. The words barely leave her lips before he closes the distance. The kiss is not gentle, but it isn't wild either. It's deliberate, intentional. His mouth presses against hers with firm certainty. Not a question, a statement. Her hand tightens in his tunic. For half a breath she stiffens. Then she responds. The storm outside drowns out everything else. His hand slides from her jaw back to her waist, drawing her closer, not forcing, eliminating space. The kiss deepens slowly, measured, charged. When he finally pulls back, their breaths are uneven. You were trying to leave, he murmurs. Yes. And I stopped you. Yes. And you didn't push me away. Silence. Her hand is still gripping his tunic. You don't get to command me, she whispers. I'm not. Then what was that? His forehead rests briefly against hers. That, he says quietly, was me not pretending. Thunder crashes again. And for the first time, she isn't thinking about cavalry at all. Thunder rolls low and violent above the tent. Rain pounds against canvas like distant drums of war. His forehead still rests against hers. That, he had said quietly, was me not pretending. Her hand remains fisted in the front of his tunic. Her pulse is wild. Her breath uneven. For a moment, neither of them moves. The kiss lingers in the air between them. Not desperate, not uncontrolled, deliberate. Chosen. You stopped me, she says quietly. Yes. You kissed me. Yes. You didn't hesitate. No. The simplicity of his answers steadies something inside her. The storm roars outside, but inside the tent, the air feels thick and suspended. You can't command men into battle and then lose control in a tent, she says softly. He studies her carefully. I didn't lose control. No. No. Then what was that? Truth. Her breath catches again. You think this is that simple. No. It isn't. I know. His hand slides from her waist, but doesn't fall away. It rests at her lower back instead, warm and steady. This complicates everything, she says. Yes. You can't afford complication. I can. The confidence in his voice unsettles her more than the kiss did. You're at war, she says. You need clarity. I have it. You just kissed your strategist. Yes. And you think that brings clarity? Yes. Her brow tightens. How? Because I don't have to pretend why I overruled you. The words hit deeper than she expects. You changed the route because of me, she says again. Yes. That's reckless. No. That's personal. Yes. The honesty disarms her. You can't fight a war emotionally. I'm not. You just did. No, he says evenly. I fought a war strategically. I protected someone personally. Her throat tightens. You don't get to protect me without asking. You're right. The admission surprises her. But I won't apologize for wanting to, he continues. Silence falls between them. Heavy. Thunder cracks again, closer this time. The tent shakes violently. And then, footsteps approach outside. Quick. Urgent. Her head turns sharply toward the entrance. He doesn't move away from her. Your Grace, a voice calls from outside the tent. Enemy scouts spotted along the eastern ridge. The world snaps back into place. War. Reality. Command. His hand tightens slightly at her back. Hold position, he calls calmly. Await further orders. Yes, Your Grace. Footsteps retreat. She looks up at him. This is what I meant, she says quietly. You don't have the luxury of distraction. His gaze doesn't waver. You think this distracts me. It could. It won't. How can you be sure? Because I don't separate command from conviction. Her pulse steadies slowly. You think kissing me makes you stronger? She says. I think pretending I don't want to makes me weaker. Silence. Rain continues hammering the canvas. You're not afraid of consequence, she murmurs. I am. You don't look it. I'm afraid of making the wrong tactical decision. And this isn't one. No. Her breath deepens. You stopped me from leaving. Yes. You kissed me. Yes. And you don't regret it. No. She studies his face, looking for doubt, for hesitation. She finds neither. You're certain, she says. Yes. Even now. Yes. He steps back slightly then, not retreating, just creating space so he can look at her fully. You're angry at me for overriding your counsel, he says. Yes. You're angry because you're used to being heard. Yes. You're angry because you care about the outcome. Yes. And you're still here. Her pulse jumps. Yes. You didn't push me away. No, she didn't. The realization settles heavier than the storm outside. You could have, he says quietly. Yes. But you didn't. No. He steps closer again, not as a commander now, but as a man. You think I stopped you from leaving, he says. You did. No, he replies. I stopped you from running. The words land sharp. I don't run, she says. You do when this becomes personal. Silence. She exhales slowly. You kissed me in the middle of a storm, she says. Yes. While scouts were approaching. Yes. And you think that was calculated. It was inevitable. The certainty in his voice shakes something inside her. You don't get to decide inevitability, she whispers. No, he says softly. You do. The storm begins to soften slightly. Rain less violent now. More steady. You could walk out now, he says. And pretend it didn't happen. She doesn't respond. You could return to your tent, he continues. We could argue about cavalry at dawn, and pretend the rest was heat and storm. Yes. Silence. Heavy. Charged. You wouldn't, she says finally. No. You tell them. Yes. The admission makes her heart race. You'd risk your authority. My authority doesn't depend on denying what I feel. The words echo what he said before. Consistent. Unwavering. You think the men will respect that, she says. I think they'll respect decisiveness. And this is decisive. Yes. She steps back finally, not retreating, just creating space to think. The tent feels larger now. The storm quieter. You can't move the Southern cavalry tonight, she says. His brow lifts slightly. We're returning to strategy? Yes. He nods once. You're right. The answer comes without hesitation. Her eyes narrow slightly. You don't argue? No. You just overruled me an hour ago. And I was wrong. The admission is calm. Certain. You changed your mind because of a kiss? She asks. No. Then why? Because you were right about timing. Silence. You're not saying that to placate me, she says. No. You're certain. Yes. Her pulse steadies. You're impossible, she murmurs. Yes. And reckless. Yes. And infuriating. Yes. His mouth curves slightly. And you're still here. She exhales slowly. Yes. The rain softens further. The storm is passing. He steps closer once more, but this time not trapping her near the entrance, not pressing her against a pool, just standing beside her. Equal. You tried to leave, he says. Yes. And I stopped you. Yes. And now. She looks up at him. Now I'm not leaving. The words are quiet, but certain. He doesn't kiss her again. He doesn't pull her closer. He simply nods once. Good, he says. Outside, the camp begins to move again as the storm fades. Orders will need to be given. Scouts addressed. Strategy adjusted. War resumed. But inside the tent, something else has shifted. She tried to leave. He stopped her. Not with force. Not with command. But with truth. And this time, neither of them pretends it was just the storm.